the old days, we used to come in, the kids used to have the video cameras and everything, but now it's done behind the scenes.
Where's that Miranda at? She here?
She's in Miranda's on here.
Miranda's here?
He's on the, where's that? Yeah, here.
All right, Nick, you're ready to go.
All right.
You're on.
I'd now like to call the September 19th Penn Trafford School Board meeting to order with a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Lego? Yes, sir. Mr. Petrucci? Mrs. Issa?
Here.
Mr. Klein?
Present.
Mr. Kachasik?
Here.
Dr. Costa? Here. Mr. Leonard is absent. Mr. Matarazzo?
Here.
Mr. Nemec?
Here.
Mr. Petrucci?
Here.
And Mr. Stovar is absent this evening. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you,
You're welcome.
Mr. Lego. Okay, information, Dr. Harris.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Petrucci. This past weekend, Scott Ingles and I, we got to attend the Alumni Hall of Fame induction. It was on September 17th at the Lamplighter. This year, we were, they nominated and inducted 7 candidates. Glenn, I hope I say these names right, Kashurba, 1974, thank you. David Rebick, 1983. Jennifer Muley, 1996. Larry Cole, the class of 1973. Lori Jakella, the class of 1979. Ronald Japanzik Sr., class of 1973. And Sylvia Hill Fields, the class of 1973. So 5 of them came, 2 of them could not make it. One of them sent a video. It was a great honor, and it was great to see what our alumni were doing throughout the years and everything. Speaking of different alumni, we're also on the 2022 Penn Trafford Football Hall of Fame banquet will be on Saturday, October 1st. And the players will be recognized September 30th at a football game against Norrin. Inductees are Mike Enoch, Aaron Miller, Ryan Moore, Manny Simpson, Justin Williams, Irv Gusick, and the 2011 team. They will be honored before the September 30th football game against Norrin. Also that night, I'd like to mention that there are 11 students who are now in the AFJROTC program. Together with the Norrin cadets, they will be presenting the colors during the PT Norrin football game on Friday, September 30th. So it makes this, for a special night. And the children from McCullough and Harrison Park today went to Deer Valley. They started their trip up there, and they will return Wednesday. And McCullough and Sunrise, Trafford Elementary, and Level Green will go up Wednesday to Friday. Remember that middle school will go this year because they didn't get to go the last 2 years. I was very happy to have that happen. And Penn Middle goes the following week, and Trafford will go in October. And that's all I have tonight.
I have a quick question, Dr.
Sure.
Harris, on the Hall of Fame dinner. Do we know if we reach out to any of the families who are attending, if any of the people that they're inviting have medical or health issues that need to park closer? Do we offer parking for those people? I was approached by somebody, and I didn't know that. I said I'd look into it.
They could reach out to, I know for the evening for Colin Kelly does take for the reservations.
I'm
If
talking
they-
about, for the Friday, where we take them out to the football field.
Well, we did have 2 who needed, they told us about the transportation ahead of time, so we gave them parking. And we also provided them with a golf cart, so we took them out to the football field on a golf cart.
Okay.
So we
Also,
did-
anybody with a handicap placard is permitted to park in the Warrior Center lot, assuming there's still
I thought
spaces left.
I thought we weren't honoring the Hall of Fame inductees till the 30th.
Well, we're doing the Hall of Fame for the football on the
That's the one.
30th,
Yeah.
but then we're also having the people who were just inducted, they're coming back to a later football game.
Okay. I was more, well, either one, I guess, would fit that bill, as long as we make the effort to, if any of the attendees have any parent or grandparent or whatever has a medical issue or a disability, that we at least make accommodations so they can
Oh,
park
absolutely.
closer to the building.
We do
Or
that, we do
closer
that
to
for the
Warrior Center.
parking, and we also, We had two, actually three people took advantage of the golf cart because
Okay. Thank you.
it was for a veteran celebration.
With
We had-
that, Mr. Hetrick spoke to me about that issue a little bit this past week. He reserves a number of spots that are coned off there for anybody that has a need to park because of a disability, but he did say sometimes, quite frankly, there's 20, 30, 50 people with that need, and there's just no spaces left. So some people who would show up at like 7:15, they're all gone.
Okay, as
Yeah.
long as we're offering it, that's what
Yeah.
I was
So the
wondering.
advice would be anybody that has that situation, get there as early as
First come,
possible.
first served.
Mhm.
Thank
But
you.
we have taken them up from above.
Correct.
Down below in a golf course.
Yes.
Too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all, Dr. Harris?
That's all I have.
Okay, now recognition of visitors. You must state your name, address, and group affiliation, if any. Your statement will be limited to 3 minutes in duration. All statements shall be directed to the president, and no participant may address or question a board member individually. You may be interrupted if your statement is too lengthy, personally direct, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. I have the list of residents who wish to speak. Your name will be called in the order received. We only have one person tonight, a young man, Jay Johnson. Will you please step forward? At the,
I don't think that mic is on.
Does anybody else have?
Let me turn that mic on for a second.
I was hoping to more or less get a question and answer between you as opposed to just stand here for 3 minutes and talk about why I'm here. The reason I'm here is I didn't even get a chance to read this article in the Penn Trafford about the board, gave out a bid for $18,000 to 2 engineering firms, but there was no end game. Like, what are we doing this for? I got a whole list of reasons that I hope that you say. But is there an end game? Is there just a reason, or are we just looking at buildings?
I think
You got it.
you want me to address that? We addressed, the prior 2 board meetings, we did address it publicly here, so I don't know if the newspaper picked up on it, but, our buildings are aging. The youngest building is the building you're in right now. It's 50 years old, 51 years old. McCullough Elementary is 100 years old. Our admin building's 120 years old, so they're all very, very old. A lot of issues, so, with the changes in demographics and the borders, we want to see if there is a better way to configure our schools. Do we need 1 middle school versus 2 middle schools? Do we need 3 elementary schools versus 5? So, and if we look at those situations, where do we draw the lines and where would that happen? What do demographics show over the next 5, 10 years? Is our population increasing, decreasing? So it's a study to make sure we understand what the issues are. We don't want to go into a $100 million project without data. So that was the premise of it. So I'm not sure if that answers some of your questions.
It did.
and just to go a little further on that, the demographic studies, because we added 4 elementary teachers this year. And, but most of the growth, almost all the growth really, except for Shenandoah and Sterling Oaks and that one section of Trafford Borough, has been east of the turnpike. And it's continuing in that direction too. And if they put that slip ramp in, which I understand is a definite now, and that slip ramp is also, it starts from the bank and goes all the way down to Harrison City, 3 lanes, a turn lane, which is needed. There's no doubt, I'm not discussing that. But that's going to enhance the growth further on the eastern side of the turnpike. So that's, the demographic study is, I hope that, it's going to be hard to actually calculate what to expect there, but that slip ramp is definitely going to add potential for more growth. And it's, if it develops something like the slip ramp is on Route 30 there, where that ramp comes right up and hits Home Depot and King's and Sam's Club and Walmart and all the rest of that stuff, that's quite a bit extra traffic, but I think it is needed for a turning lane. But that's the demographics is, it may be obsolete before we can actually use it, because once that slip ramp, 5 years after that, then you're gonna start seeing some big development.
Well, the other issue, Mr. Petrucci,
gonna
is the, right now, there isn't a state reimbursement program from the state, it's typically called PlanCon. where you get, 20 to 30% reimbursement from the state for a construction project. Right now, it's a moratorium on that. But if that ever does open back up, you are required to have these studies done to qualify for that funding.
And also, Mr. Johnson, you were concerned about the age of the building. There are a couple board members been trying to bank millage for decades, to put one mill aside a year. And we have a very frugal board here, which I greatly respect their frugality, but I'm one of the board members who always wanted to bank millage because expectation, what can happen, we need we need to combine, Dr. Harris put together a nice long-range program for future board members, but it's gonna take, you're talking over $100 million project easily. And it's, you have to, in my opinion, it's like you wanna buy a new car, you gotta put money aside every year to build money up to it. And this is, this is what the standard, that's, you're asking about the age of the buildings, that is what they're telling. Our youngest building right now is the elementary wing at Trafford Schools, and it's 96, so it's approaching 30 years too. Okay.
Well, the rest of my question then, or just, I could probably end this in a statement. Once I, opened my mouth and started talking to some people from my church and whatnot, which is who brought this whole article to my attention, got the both brain cells up and running. And I was wondering, or actually hoping, so just let me throw this out there, you can talk about it later. But I thought about, reasons that I like the idea that, if you have it done, you're ahead of the game, so that if the state or federal, whoever's or giving you some funding towards this is a good idea. But I think after I started to, as I said, ponder on the idea, I thought, well, let's see what reasons I was hoping you would tell me. First one that jumped out at me was, do we have a plan or have we talked about a plan that if we elect adults and they put in voucher systems? I mean, are we ready to bring a bunch of people in? And which is what I was kind of thinking, that maybe that was a thought. On that same line of vouchers, I was a victim, I actually missed it, but I graduated from Swissvale High School, and the year that I graduated, they tore the school down behind me, and Swissvale was assured that Braddock being bankrupt was not going to affect anything, and spent millions of dollars on a school only to let some judge come in and take it off of them and make it Woodland Hills. And the people of Swissvale royally took that. The point being is that I believe Jeanette is teetering on bankruptcy. I mean, they graduated 30 kids last year. I don't think what they got going on is sustainable. So, if we're building the schools, are you considering that you may get saddled with this other school district? Because, as, in, I don't remember what it was, early 80s, that's what happened to Swissvale and Churchill, and they just said, no, you take on Braddock Rankin, they went bankrupt. And you can see how well that worked for the world. The other thing I was hoping that you guys had discussed is, I seen on the news, and I also read it in the paper, that, after the pandemic, a lot of kids opted not to come back to school, to stay online. I don't know if you've discussed, working on an online system if the kids want to work that way. That would save building a building. You don't need brick and mortar for online. And, apparently a lot of kids have that option. I don't even know if you offer that this year to kids.
We do.
You do? Well, I haven't been to any of the discussions. Didn't even read the article that I'm actually here about. But, there's a discussion that I think needs to be there, this is a great school district, which, why I bought here. I bought here for a couple reasons, but, a great school district always makes your property value. And the fact that you talk about, saving a mill towards the project, me and the manager spoke, I am a big proponent of following Mount Lebanon's lead and other school districts that we don't need a bus. You know, I don't have a child in the school. I'm not gonna have a child in this school district. The school district really means nothing more to me than how it affects my property value. But, you know, why do I pay a school district that should be educating to transport kids to school? Mount Lebanon doesn't. Mount Lebanon has never done it. And they consistently,
Okay, please, don't bring up other school districts. I'd like to keep
All
it
right, all right,
right here.
other
please.
school districts.
I'd appreciate that.
All right.
Now, your time is almost up, but continue.
Or just regardless. I think that, you know, you think that you should bank the money away. I agree. I think that we waste a lot of money on services that don't need to be part of this board. You know, other school districts, can I say that, don't. They put, if you have a kid, that's your responsibility to get the kid to school. There's buses, but the parents pay for the bus. The parents pay for the lunch. The parents pay for latchkey. You know, not everybody in the community pays for it. I mean, I just think that's socialism, and you need to think about all
Okay,
that.
thank you, Mr. Johnson.
All right.
You mentioned vouchers. Vouchers comes from the state level. If you have any concern about vouchers, that does not begin with the school board.
I didn't say it did. I just want to know if you were preparing for the fact that it may happen. I hope and pray and vote for it to happen.
And as far as our enrollment being affected by the pandemic, our enrollment has gone up again this year. Not by much, but it's gone up.
Okay.
So we're doing things right, I believe. Feel very comfortable with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, now I guess we go to the executive session. The board convened for executive session at 5:15 today. We discussed personnel, real estate, safety, security, litigation, and legal matters. The board received information on transitions resources for students. Okay, now we come to the action items, the consent agenda, and the action items are, I understand, I'm looking here, may have up to approve. Are there, anybody get a chance to review all the
Mr.
action
Petrucci,
items?
Mr. Petrucci,
Yeah.
we skipped old business, just to
I'm
note
sorry.
that there
I'm
is
sorry.
no old business this evening. That was after visitors.
Okay, wait a minute, after the, there are no new items, old business. Are there any new items, they're under old business? Let me see, help me
No,
out.
no, there
No,
were
there's
none,
no-
there are
no.
none.
Just wanted to
Correct,
note
all
that there
right.
were none, right?
Executive we just is good.
Yep.
For consent agreement, are there any questions, additions, or deletions on consent items? Anybody have any suggestions or anything they want to run by? We discussed everything pretty good in executive session, so now
I move to
I'm
approve.
going to page 10. Okay, Dr. Costo, go ahead.
Hold on.
Approve it.
Actually, it was
I'm sorry, was that Jim?
Yeah, we just have to
Okay, so-
approve.
sorry,
A motion to
Mr.
approve the
making a
consent
motion.
agenda.
Good.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, motion by Mr. Maraz, and a
Second.
Second, Mr. Kachasik. Any question on motion?
Question.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Now, one thing that, personnel curriculum, Mr. Kachasik.
Thank you, Mr. President. I got it. I'm getting there eventually.
Page 11.
I'm shuffling myself, Mr. Kachasik.
Move to employ the following personnel. New employment is contingent upon the receipt of all necessary documentation and the acceptance of Act 34, 151, and 114 waivers from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania within 30 days. I will just read the names out, and Dr. Harris, you can just, we'll just read the names.
Okay.
Luke Fleur, Bruce Lochner, Hannah Barkley, Ms. Telasky. I apologize in advance if I'm incorrectly pronouncing the names. Stephanie Kiefer, Wendy Macarelli, Sarah Chavis, Kayla Kunkel, Nicole Page, Stacy Thompson, Miranda Fry, and William Caesar.
Second.
Mr. Nair, give me a second. Any
Question.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
All right, thanks. I just want
Thank you,
to
Mr. Kachasik.
That's all I have.
stop for a second because I have two of those members in the audience. First of all, Miranda Fry She was hired tonight as a teacher at the Penn Trafford High School. She's in the audience. She was currently working as a resource room SLA. And Miranda, do you want to come up to the mic for just about a minute or two?
Give us your background, please.
Last year, she was a tutor at Sunrise, but please go ahead and give us your whole background.
Yes, so I worked last year as a super sub for Sunrise Elementary, and then this year I was put as an SLA into the resource room and quickly had the opportunity to move up as a learning support teacher to replace Taylor Bartlow. And I just wanted to thank everybody for this opportunity, as I graduated from here and so did all my siblings, so I look forward to doing the best for the district as I can. Thank you.
We're very lucky to have you, and actually what was very impressive is she set up the resource room, and we really wanted to make some changes, and I went up there 2 or 3 different times, and the things she's implemented this year, can you kind of tell us what kind of things she put in place?
Yeah, so the first time I went in there, well, it used to be a tech room, so it was different when I came in, but it was a smaller space that I knew I needed to set up as a classroom. So I have different seatings now because I do have a variety of students that come in, but I have some desks, and then I have some different separations. So there's like a big table. There's in the corner, I have some flexible seating actually, which even though they use that a lot at the elementary level, is great for the high school kids. They really seem to enjoy it. They're starting to want to come up to the resource room. They know it's a comforting place. I have lots of comforting colors, calming colors, and different quotes, just positive things all around the room to try to encourage their involvement in the resource room.
So, I mean, she just came and she did that on her own. The initiative and the work ethic and the energy she put in that room, very impressive. So it
Thank
was
you.
very proud.
Where'd you go to college?
West Virginia Wesleyan College. Yes.
And your degree was in?
Special ed, K through 12.
Great. And what's a super sub?
It's a substitute, like a building sub at Sunrise, but she uses me everywhere and anywhere, so I had experience in every grade level, every classroom, every position. I was secretary for a day, gym teacher, you know. I got lots of great experience, and I knew every kid there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Glad to have that. Colin wants a picture. Oh, sure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And are your parents with you tonight?
Yep, they're back there.
You should be very proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Miranda, the meeting is almost over. Just stay, 'cause I want to just to introduce yourself to the board. I also want to get a picture.
Okay.
Colleen promised. I promised her. And we also have Bill. Did anybody say is it Caesar or is this
Cesar, sir.
Cesar? All right, very. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't saying it right.
It's happened all my life.
But actually, we're very lucky to have Bill here, or you go by William or Bill?
Bill's fine,
Bill,
sir.
as a maintenance technician for the school. We really need his expertise. And can you give us some of your experience? And I'm always impressed with the military, so.
Well, thank you, Dr. Harris, and thank you for the time. I spent 34 years in the military total, 25 active. And recently retired January of 21. I started working at the VA. I was a master electrician at the VA. And I recently moved out here with my fiancée, Angela Johnson, and she's here with me tonight. And the commute was pretty bad, so I wanted to find something out here, and I had an opportunity to apply here, and I really appreciate you accepting my application and hiring me. I have a lot of plumbing background, a lot of electrical. I'm certified HVAC. I've grew up working with my hands. I started in the military as an electrician way back in the day, and through the years I ended up as a career counselor, but I did 3 tours. I'm very excited to be here, and I want to thank everybody for this opportunity.
Thank you.
We're very grateful to have you. Very lucky.
That
Thank you, sir.
position's very valuable.
Thank
Very
you, sir.
valuable. Congratulations, lots of luck to you.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Solution report?
No report, thank you, Mr.
Okay, motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Mr. Kachasik, second. That's it. Second by Susie Ising. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The meeting. Drive safely. See you next month.